your smile. Just keep smiling and believe that the surely is going to be a brighter day. Welcome to Home Affairs here on Joy 99.7 FM. Daniela, thank you very much for production and to everybody who is supporting us technically. Mama T, I see you're on. Phoebe Besemete is my guest this morning. Mrs. Teresa Riafia Sante as well. And then Dr. Padi Ayete as well. What are we talking about this morning? You remember last week, if you listened in 2 weeks ago, we had Reverend Alan Okume and Lady Reverend Adelaide Hewitt Mills. We had the two of them 2 weeks ago and then had another show with them last week. But somewhere along the line in the conversation, Lady Reverend made a statement. She did say that it is looking like a lot of women are beginning to. Okay, hello Daniela, can you just go down on the music? Just go down on the music. Thank you very much. Great, thank you. She did say that it was beginning to look like a lot of women are beginning to seek comfort, from away from their home and whatever. And then she said that okay, maybe we might want to find out why. And interestingly, right after that conversation, our emails, started flooding. A lot of emails, people telling us, yes, indeed, they have found themselves there, and we're given reasons why they have found themselves there. And so this morning, we're saying that how the other man got in, even though, I am married. So we're having a conversation to look at not to want to find or justify anything. I honestly don't think that there can be any justification for it. That's personal. I don't think, but there could be reasons. There could be real reasons why people find themselves, at these places. And ultimately, for me, the conversation is to get people thinking about these things, especially so for people who are not there yet, okay? At the end of it all, we realize that not everyone is a superhuman, okay, or has, superpowers. Not everyone is so spiritual to the point of becoming, celibate, even in their marriages. The real reasons why some people find themselves at these places and not some of the flimsy excuses people give. And for me, at the end of this conversation, we're looking to having that coming to that realization where if you probably are not doing something right in your home, that could be pushing your partner elsewhere, you might want to look at it, consider it, and see how you can make things better. So, yes, people are going through things that sometimes get them doing some of these things. How does it happen? Why does it happen? If you're already there, probably after this conversation, you would have a change of heart. But most importantly for me, we want to understand some of the reasons and then see how, especially so the men, how you're able to ensure that you're not setting your wife up to find themselves at these places. So we went through and then selected two of the letters. I'll quickly read them out and then we will start the conversation. They'll form the basis for our conversation. This one says that my husband is serially unfaithful. Each time he would say I would change, apologize, and then we try to get things going again. Maximum 1 month, he is back at it. He's quite careless and sees it as a game and wants me to just see it that way as well. He tells me he loves just me and all the other ones are fun. I told him how much he was hurting me and how exposed I was to infections. He told me he was careful. In short, he was not going to change and I was to live with it and understand that that is who he is. He told me everyone has a cross in their marriage and that was mine, so I should deal with it. Let me tell you, he is a Bible believing, a tongue speaking, and a tithe paying, and generally a practicing Christian who teaches Bible studies ahead of the main service in our church. Looking back, I think I saw the red flags but ignored them. He assured me I had nothing to worry about. I cried each time he was making love to me. I had no feelings for him. I felt used, laying beneath him, and gradually lost it all for him. He could not be bothered. I could not talk to anyone about the challenge. Did I become tired of praying? I prayed till I lost faith. It took 3 months. I took 3 months break from work, hoping to fix myself. I grew from bad to worse. I became a mess. He just lived. He only told me to get a hold on myself, and that he loved me. He was careless with me. I resented him for leading devotions at home with the family, and then the moment we say amen, he grabs his phone and starts babying everyone and scheduling rendezvous around. Like I said, he did not hide it. One day I went grocery shopping and bumped into someone, and we got talking. We became friends. He is widowed and was on a rebound. We talked about everything. I was on break, so I had time on my hands. Gradually, we got close. I felt respected, loved, and treated right. Within 6 weeks, we were deep into each other. I bounced back with excitement. My husband was happy to see me back. He told me to continue doing whatever it is that I was doing because I had become very much alive, and that means a lot of fun, both home and away, he said. At this point, I concluded that he is just sick. It's been 3 years of this silent affair. I am not proud of myself, but I am happier. I insist he wears the condom whenever he comes around me, and he does. I do it as a chore, but have deep affections and love elsewhere. Do I regret it? Yes, because I know it's wrong. But staying that way was killing me. I am more alive. I got promoted. I have peace at home. My husband loves the new me, and that has fueled. She's saying her husband loves the new her that has been fueled by respect from another man, and says, "God help me." Okay, for the sake of this conversation, we'll call her Karen. We'll just move on to the second one also quickly. It says that I simply got tired of crying and begging for love, sex, and affection in my home. My husband complained about my weight after childbirth. I have not given up on myself. I was working at it, and it's been tough shedding the extra 10 kg. I lost 4 and was still working on it. He only complains, only 2 kids, and look at how you're looking. And then he would say, I don't like fat women. I am not attracted to bulky abdomens. I need you back. Do something. But I am really doing something. Exercise, home care, child care, demanding job, but I keep trying. No support, no encouragement. He told me categorically clear that until I get back to a size 8, he is sorry he's not attracted to me. When I had actually tried hard and lost 5 kg, at that point, I started questioning what I meant to him. All he wanted was my body. 2 cesarean sessions, the kids, all the sacrifices mean nothing. My body that got transformed as a result of childbirth that I am working on is what my husband is focused on. I became demotivated. Is that all I mean to him? But somehow I pushed myself harder to get the weight off. And indeed, during the process, he refused to touch me. I became stressed, begged and cried. But he told me I had to earn it, work harder and earn it. Get to a size 8 and you'll have me. By which time he was already having an affair. I just could not comprehend it. I became depressed and rather fell back. I started gaining weight again gradually, and we lost it all. For 2 years, I struggled with my weight, and also because I was depressed. A friend introduced me to a psychologist who helped me through it. Soon I registered at the gym again, and my gym instructor became my source of strength. He would encourage me. He checked on me daily, had a meal plan, he supported my course, and even when I could not keep up, of course, because of schedules, he would encourage me and send me quick home routines I could do even in the bathroom. We became friends and gradually got close and closer, and then we got intimate. This was after 3 years of being told to lose weight to earn intimacy. I am not proud of myself, but I am happy and I'm losing the weight even faster now. That is how the other man got in my case. So, like I said, these are the issues. I mean, there are lots more. There were lots more in the emails that, okay, you felt like this person was just looking, to have fun. There's no money. He doesn't want to work hard. And then there are some about the sex was not good and all that. I felt, okay, those ones you can have conversations and talk. But these two instances where the men have made up their minds, it is either this or that. You take it or leave it. And then gradually these women got pushed into the hands of other men. I felt they're quite serious, and then we could discuss them. So, like I said, cheating won't be justified in any way. Okay, we cannot endorse it whatsoever on the show. Mama T won't endorse that. Phoebe won't, and I am sure Doc won't too. Your reason may be pathetic, and it may look like there's no way out of your situation, but it still doesn't make it right. Or let me just ask a question: does it make it right in any way? At the end of it, I need us to realize that not everyone, I said it earlier, is a superhuman. Not everyone is so spiritual to the point that they can be married, stay in their homes, and still, just remain celibate. Okay, their partners are not touching them. They're not having any intimate relationships, but they tell themselves that, okay, this is it, I am fine. They're just staying in there. Some people, one thing may lead to the other, and then they may find themselves in these places. What do we do? And then at the end of it all, the crux, and the focus for this conversation for me is for us to be able to learn. If you find yourself in such a situation where you are actually not paying attention to your wife, or you seem to be neglecting her needs, and she's speaking with you, you're not paying attention. Probably they haven't intended to cheat on you, but one thing could lead to the other, and they may find themselves in some places that may not be too good. So, how do we ensure that these things are not happening in our homes and in our marriages? And let's not kid it, it's real. These things are happening. Mama T, Reverend Mrs. Uriafe Asante, good morning.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. I can't see Phoebe. Phoebe, are you here?
I am here. I'm here.
Okay, great. I can see you now. Do we have Doc on the line just yet?
Yes, you do.
Okay, great. I think that we have, a very perfect panel to discuss this. Mama T is an Osofumami with swag. Very practical. I know, right? Very practical, and we'll look at the moral aspect of this conversation. Phoebe will take us on, a psychological journey to find out how these things happen. And Dr. Aite, for me, I think you understand women better than we women understand ourselves. Yes, gynae obstetrician. You know how the woman anatomy, works. Whatever it is that goes on in a woman's body, in her mind, and how she feels, and all of these things. I'm sure you are able to help us so that husbands, partners who are listening will understand that, okay, looks like this human being over here deserves some attention, and just so that we have a lot of peace in our homes. So I will start with us by finding out. We've read 2 letters. The first one would say the person is Karen. What name do I give to this other person? I don't want to mention. Let's just call the second one Ajwa. So we have Karen and Ajwa. Karen's story is the one about the husband being a serial, she says her husband is serially unfaithful. And this is like a practicing, tongue speaking, tithe paying Christian. And he teaches the Sunday school ahead of the main service, the adult Sunday school ahead of the main service and all that. And then Ajo's husband is the one saying that get back to size 8 or you don't have me. And indeed, he didn't let her for 3 years until, she found solace in another person's arms. What do you make of the stories in the first place? Mawati, let's start with you.
All right, good morning again. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. Right, so both stories they actually are very serious, especially for both of them. They actually present issues that makes it sound or look as if they are justified in what they are doing. What they present here is so such that wow, how can you do this? So my friend, if you have done it, you have done it. That's how it feels if you listen. But let's start by saying that no matter how you try to rationalize infidelity, no matter what you use to sugarcoat, either honeycoat or whatever, it still does not make a wrong right. So to begin with, it is so wrong. But it is also true in recent times that women and most wives are closing in on the infidelity gap.
I like the closing in.
It's interesting. This is what I do. And in recent times, I have spoken to quite a few women who are deeply into sexual affairs outside of their homes, and they are enjoying it just the way that we read these two letters. And they are saying that I am doing it, I'm damning all the consequence. After all, what is good for the goose is all equally good for the gander. And that is exactly what they are saying. But we are saying this morning that no matter, for me, my stance on these things. And I would rather that you stop this whole marriage thing and go out and find somebody rather than staying in a man's home and doing this. For me, it takes away your pride as a woman or as a wife. It takes away your self-esteem as a wife and many other things. So certainly, it is so wrong. Going on, just like you did with the introduction, there are true issues are happening, and they also need to be looked at and worked on. We all know for us as women, the many things that makes us tick, the many things that makes us alive, and especially for a wife, the fact that you are receiving no affection at all from your husband, your need for affection, and the fact that you are not receiving it at all, there's no romance for you, you don't feel like a companion to your husband, you have, every other security you have as a woman is completely taken away from you. I am wondering what Ajo's husband is looking for, and this is where I usually talk to women. Why must my husband give me size 8, so I am at size 12, and he wants me to come to size 8 before
he met you at size 8.
And you see,
and that's what he admired. Yeah, and from this, it means that they have had conversations, and wife knows that is what husband is attracted to.
That is I don't know how they started all this, but you see, even before people must learn to have and negotiate on a number of things. And most wives are saying yes to everything their husbands are saying. They are saying yes, daddy, yes, honey, yes. And so everything is yes for a husband, and there is no yes for a wife. I see women, but usually I start by saying that when a woman doesn't really know what she represents to begin with, when she has no love for herself even before she gets married, she feels that somebody else must give her love. And that is why many women are like this, because she does not have love enough for herself. So now you see, all the love women are looking for, they are looking for this love in their husbands or in their male counterparts. And so when they are not receiving this kind of love from them, then they feel that their world has come to an end. Like it's true, you go to the gym and sometimes you meet women, me these days I become obolo small, but if you meet women my size, Okay, and they are still gymming. I'm asking them, what are you shedding? And they are saying, because my husband says he wants size 8. And I'm asking, I see the husband, since that he's waiting outside for him. I see this man with a pot belly. I see him very, very fat. And I'm wondering, why won't he come into the gym? So I am wondering, but I have to be size 8. Well, you see how women have been trained, especially for all of us women who have daughters. Let us train them to love them before they seek for love from other people. Because if this man has this big pot belly and he's walking like I don't want to say a gorilla. And that is how he's walking. And he still is asking you to go to the gym and shed something. Then again, I don't get it. You see, because all of us as wives, as women, our greatest preference is what our husbands are saying. That is affection. It is beautiful. It is true. But seriously, after 2 children, after 3 children, if any man would ask you to still be a size 8, then certainly you have married a baby. From the beginning, the man you were getting married to was a boy. And it's still a boy if he's still asking for that. You see, so that is about it. But again, I am looking at the fact that if any husband is asking for these things from a wife, then certainly he needs a rethink. Again, for Phoebe, for the first lady letter. Perhaps we are not bringing answers now, but let me tell you this truth. If you ever get married to a woman's man, a man who loves many women, even before you got married. Sometimes you were 3 ladies. He was talking to all 3 of you. Then either you were playing or you were doing something. So you were the first. I mean, at the end of the day, the wife, and that wow, I have won. So I am the wife now. Don't forget, my dear, this man will still be seeing other women after the marriage. If you ever happen to marry a woman's man, rest your mind, he will keep cheating. Nothing will stop. So if you want to also help yourself by cheating, then I don't know what you are doing, because the marriage will not stop him from cheating one bit. He can be the bishop. He can be an archbishop. If he's a man's woman, if he's a man who loves women, and you think that after marriage he will stop, it is a lie. It is a huge lie.
Great. All right. Thank you very much, Mama T. Phoebe, let me hear your thoughts on this subject, and then we'll go to Doc, and then we get into asking some specific questions. But let me remind our listeners that Home Affairs is brought to us by Dano Milk. Dano's strength comes from within. And you can send your messages 059-288-9986, or also to the regular number 0244-340-437, 0244-340-437, or 059-288-9986. This is Home Affairs live on Joy997FM. We're also live on Facebook and on YouTube. Yes, Phoebe.
Yes, thank you very much, Adam. Good morning, everyone. This conversation, I think, is coming at a very critical time because, like you said, more and more women are seeking love and affection outside the home because obviously they're very, very unhappy. There is some insecurity. There's some issue going on at home. But I'm going to look at it, obviously, from another angle. And this is where most women feel trapped at home. When using the scenarios that you painted, it sounds like the women, they feel trapped at home. They feel that they're in a situation that they can't get out of, and they have very few options available to them. Now, in that case, what happens is they're thinking, okay, how can I get out without getting out? I don't want to go with a divorce because obviously a divorce has far-reaching consequences. So which way can I get that reprieve? How can I get that solace? How can I get that comfort without actually signing divorce papers and going through all those legal proceedings? I can get that affection. I can get that consideration. I can get that comfort. I can get that physical connection somewhere else and with someone else who appreciates me more than my spouse. So what we see here is that there's an unconscious narrative going on in the woman's mind. She's processing it. She's thinking it through. How do I get what I need without taking drastic steps? Okay? And a lot of times they are written with guilt. I mean, both letters tells us that, they are thinking to themselves, this is not the right thing to do. But they are in a catch-22 situation. They are between a rock and a hard place. And what is the best thing for me to do? Let me seek affection from somebody else. But with the narration that you post here, both women went actively looking for another person or another man. It happened in the course of time. So what happens? The vulnerability is there. The boundaries are down. The restrictions are down. Why? Because the husband is not, for use of a better statement or phrase, he's not covering her. So there's that feeling of abandonment. So that she's just out there. She's not having the not just affections, but even the affirmations of her husband. Because in the case where he says, I'm not attracted to you, the first case too, he says, well, this is your cross to bear. There are no affirmations. You are not showing that commitment towards her. And women are the very crux of it, at least women who get married. We want security, we want comfort, we want that level of attachment from our husbands. So it's not just the woman should be attached to her husband, the husband should be attached to you. But in the first case, he's saying that I've lost that attachment to you, or that attachment is loose, it's flexible, it comes and goes. I go and come when I please. So one thing I tell a lot of my clients is, you have to discuss infidelity before you get married. What is infidelity to the two of you? So what would be infidelity to me may be, fidelity for him. And their ideology is always, we're both Christians, so infidelity is sleeping outside the home. Or infidelity is chatting and having an emotional connection with someone virtually. Everybody has the idea, this is what infidelity is. But when you look at it, a lot of times we don't agree. So couples need to discuss before you get married, what is infidelity? And like Mama T said, what will cause you to go outside the home? Why would you choose that option? Is there something wrong that makes you think that this is a viable option for you? Okay, what boundaries need to be crossed before we say this marriage is over? What boundaries need to be crossed before? You need to have these hardcore discussions. I think, before you get married, you're just enjoying the loveliness and the romance of it all. So nobody wants to, no, you're not thinking about breaking up. You're planning to get together. But these are realities. And because of our different personalities and our attachment styles, we may think we are on the same page, but we are not. Because the first instant tells me that he has already had this ingrained ideology that if I feel like it, I can go outside the home. The second partner, the second husband is saying the same thing, that the degree of my fidelity, of my attachment, of my commitment to you is based on your physical size and attractiveness. If that is the case, then, and this woman is panicking because she's like, where is this coming from? Okay, and the irony of the situation is the man who is supporting her, the man who's paying attention to her, the man who is enabling her and encouraging her on the path to lose the weight is the man that she starts to develop affections for. So I think men need to understand that the basis for a woman's affection is very different. Okay, if it's something that they even want to consider, but sometimes you find that the men don't really care, and then that is a whole different discussion altogether.
Wow. Great. Thank you very much, Phoebe. Let me come to you, Doc, right now. At this point, I want to find out. Like I said earlier, you understand, you understand women much better than we do. And I want to believe that not every woman who walks into your office has, or walks into your consulting room has, how do you call it, a gynecological problem. Some actually, may just not understand what's happening with them and want to have conversations. So I know you really understand. Now, with these two women who have ended up with some other persons because of all the conditions that look very rife for what they are doing. What do you make of them? Do they have any basis at all? Yeah, I want to understand from your perspectives and your understanding of what a woman's makeup is. Could this have been averted in any way?
A direct answer to your question is yes, it could have been averted. And then comes a long explanation. Basically, the situation underlying both stories is that each of these women have got needs that are not being met in their relationship. Their spouses have made a conscious decision not to meet those needs. And the challenge is that those are not like wants. They are not optional activities. They are not things that it's like, oh, you choose to have it or you choose not to have it and it's okay. It's not a brand new car when you have an existing car. It is a no car, no bicycle situation and you have to get to Kaswa every day to work. That kind of situation. And I describe it sometimes as a hunger. It's a hunger. And when you are hungry, there's only so much fasting you can do. Beyond which you go and find Kracha Yesu.
What is that?
Kracha Yesu. Mama Tino so Kracha Yesu. Banfo Bisi. Otherwise known as Banfo Bisi. You know Banfo Bisi?
Yes, I do.
Yes. For me, it is not one of the most pleasant things to eat.
Sure.
But when you are starving, you eat it with glee and drink a gallon of water on top of it.
Pressure.
Charlie, so that's the kind of situation that these people are in. And in the absence of validation and in the absence of any effort to meet that need from their spouses, there's only so much hunger they can take, after which they try and find alternative ways to meet that need in their lives. For some people, they immerse themselves in church. So they go to church morning, afternoon, evening, night, just to take their mind off this hunger. Some people are describing it as they themselves are, what they call it, sinful. And therefore, every day they are flagellating themselves and all kinds of things just to suppress. But at the end of the day, it's a hunger, and there's only so much you can do. And whilst none of these women got up that they were going to look for these kinds of trouble, when they saw the right food, they recognized it. And after a while, it becomes a bit difficult to say that I am not getting the food I need. I have the opportunity now to get the food here, and you are saying that society is saying that I cannot have that meal. There are two things that I would like to say. One, contrary to what the world says, what the world thinks, psychologists and in their research and analysis have seen that women actually cheat more than men.
Oh yes, in recent times.
Not even in recent times. The problem is that men are so dumb. Men, forgive me. Actually, there is men that get caught.
Find out until after 5 years.
No, I think it's also because it's okay if a man does it. If a man is caught cheating, what's the big deal?
No problem at all.
Yeah, there's no big deal.
So it's men that get caught. Women are just smarter. Yeah, and so it's not and then because of the nature of our current age and society, technology has made it easier for, let's say, for lack of a better word, emotional affairs to start and to perpetuate. And so you hear more of some of these things now. Not because we can't even tell whether they are occurring more now than before, just that we are hearing that people now have more opportunity to do it. But the underlying thing is that these things tend to result out of unmet needs.
Mm.
And women have the same needs as men, manifested in different manners, but the same needs as men. So as that man is complaining that the woman, he wants his wife to be a size 8, and it is a true story. There are several instances like that. And the man is expressing his genuine need of the fact that if you are big, I don't find you attractive. And when I married you, you were slim. And I somehow think you can do something about it. And he has expressed that situation. The challenge is that he also has his need. And maybe she didn't take his need as seriously as it was until it got to the extent where she has to do so much work to get back to and you must. I mean, I read a book and some guy was giving an example where the woman in this similar situation says, "Accept me the way I am, love me the way I am. If you really love me, my weight wouldn't matter." Blah 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 blah, that kind of stuff. And then they ask the woman that, so if the man, you married him because he was caring, providing, supportive, and he made sure that you were sorted out. If after you got married, he stopped doing all of that, how would you feel? They was like, "No, I'll leave immediately." Blah blah blah. No, then explain to her that, aha, see, he too, this is what he was asking in the bargain, the contract we negotiated. That please, I like you like this, stay like this. Unfortunately, you reneged on that part of the bargain, and you are complaining when he is also reneging on the other side of the bargain. I'm explaining how it happens. I'm not saying right or wrong. So both parties have needs. Sometimes men assume that as for women, they don't have the needs for sex, love, attention, touch, and that kind of stuff. They obviously don't understand their own spouse's love language. But both parties have needs. And the ideal marriage is when we focus on the other party's needs to try and meet those needs 100%. Because if I'm focused on you and you are focused on me, we both work to have an environment that both of us are really going to enjoy. So that is the situation. They are not bad people. They are just hungry people.
They're not bad people. They're not hungry. They're just hungry people. Okay, so now we have, I mean, like I said, and I'm loving this because we have different angles and different perspectives to the conversation. Mama T, at the end of it all, did say that, look, if it is that bad, and you can't do anything about it or take it, why don't you just let it go than stay in there and do these things? You know, Phoebe, we had some interesting perspectives as well, you know, and then Doc has also just told us that it's just what? It's hunger. These people are not bad people. They're not evil people. It's hunger. But I am sure that we all around the table, regardless, will still understand that this is not the way to go, right? I don't want. We all understand. I mean, around the table, say that this is not the. Oh, Doc, what did you say?
I said, I'm agreeing with you.
Aha, okay, great.
That for BC is not nice to eat too.
Unless you are too hungry.
Unless you are hungry, eat down for BC.
Well, yeah, of course. You chew it, you drink water, and then you. So around the table, we do understand that yes, you could be going through so much that may push you there, but regardless, it is not the way to go. Now, Mama T, let me ask you because when you talked about the fact that why is it so difficult for such situations that these women have found themselves in, for instance, and I know that there are people out there who may be going through even more difficult stuff.
Yes.
Even more difficult things when it comes. I remember there was a day we finished our show, and then some Obiti Chupa walked up to at the time my producer was Hannah, and she came to us, and we sat at the front desk, Joy FM, and she told us how for 9 years She hadn't gotten intimate with her husband. And she says she will go up to him in his room, be on his knees, beg, cry. He will just walk away. And sometimes, right in her presence, he, is hooking up with other people and he can't be bothered. There was this one that for me was the craziest thing I had heard in on radio ever since I started doing this. When a woman called into the show some time ago, it's a bit now, like 3 or 4 years, and said that their family computer, yeah, their family computer, um, her husband has used his girlfriend's picture as the screensaver for the family computer, and he has a painting of her in their bedroom.
That's serious, right?
That for me, like, has been the worst thing I have heard so far. Like, what kind of torture is this? And you can't say anything. So at this point, the person is telling you that take it or leave it. And they go through so much. But quite often, they're in there and taking it and suffering and withering away. Why is this so difficult to just get up and say that I deserve better? And then you rather want to hide and do some of these things. And then you feel like in the case of the other woman who says that all of a sudden she's lighted up, she's happy, and husband says that whatever it is that you're doing that's making you come back alive, continue doing it. He thinks that, okay, all of a sudden you just woke up and you are fine. And so continue doing it. She's not too cool with it. But okay, once it's giving me the peace I want and I still maintain my marriage, I am in it. Why is it usually like that?
All right, then. Yes, for all what you have described, I mean, what I do, I have met many of such situations. Recently, I am still dealing with something like this, but it forth and back. We'll still get back to our socialization, especially for women. Growing up, what you have been told, what you have seen, what you have witnessed as a young lady, even at traditional marriages, the kind of pieces of advice we receive as women and all that. For most women, the title Mrs. is very, very important to them.
I tell you.
For most women, marriage gives them a great status that they don't want to lose. For most women, marriage is everything to them. Can you imagine the number of women who are at prayer camps praying for marriage, only marriage? And so marriage for the woman is the most important thing in their lives. That is how they have been trained. That is how we have been trained over the years. So you can meet a 28-year-old woman who is still not married, and she feels her world has come to an end. And there's this 40-year-old man who is not even thinking of marriage, and he doesn't really bother. So that is upbringing. It's a socialization over the years. And then when you have children also in the marriage, you are thinking about your children. If I should leave, my children will be stigmatized and all of this. You know how our society actually frowns upon divorce. Are you divorced? And they are telling other people, this woman, her husband has divorced her. Why are you her friend? You can't befriend a divorced woman. Now, many of these things come together and it keeps the woman in a wrong marriage. Even sometimes for the fact that she doesn't have a proper job. That is why you see Doc was saying until recently, many wives were still staying put like in their marriages, abusive marriages, because they were not economically empowered. Now a lot of women are working, they are finding their own money. That is why the divorce rate is this much. So that is it. That is the truth about it. Why most women are still here and they are behaving this way. And I for the second woman who was saying that I have gone through this for so long and I have not told anybody, and I have not told anybody, part of it really disturbs me a lot. There are people to talk to. You cannot suffer in silence. You sometimes need help, and there are people to talk to. Why must you keep it all to yourself? For what? I mean, what is it at all? At the end of the day, your husband is grooving it out. I mean, he's all over the place with his ladies, and you are in the home suffering it and praying and wishing that he would come back. So that is about it. But again, for me, it also goes to say that perhaps for all of us getting married, we have forgotten that the whole marriage institution is a very sacred institution. So sacred. The Bible in Hebrews 13:4 is talking about the fact that it is most honorable and the marriage bed should not be defiled. But look at a whole church leader who understands his scripture. He says that my husband is the Bible, the practical Christian. I wanted to find out what practicality in Christianity, she's talking about. The practical Christian is the one who feels that he should be going about with everybody. So we have lost, many people have lost the truth of the fact that marriage is very, very sacred and the marriage bed should not be defiled. And so that is what is happening. And like I said, because we cannot continue, we cannot tell the wives to also go out and do what their husbands are doing, then for me, if it comes to the very difficult position, I would rather that you leave rather than stay and go through this. Nobody has a right to die for anybody. I have seen, not heard, I have seen women who have been so pushed into depression, they have almost lost their minds. They have lost their lives. And the painful part is that your husband gets to marry 3 months after your death. Don't kill yourself because somebody is pushed. 3 months. Recently, I saw this man who lost his wife just less than 3 or so months. And I saw his pictures on Facebook. And I was wondering, is it wedding? And my daughter said, it's wedding. I said, what? You see, you don't even have the right to die for yourself. So don't die for anybody. And our pastors and church counselors should stop telling people that you stay and pray and die in the event. If there is anything you can do about your life, ladies, please, I am not saying go and get divorced, but certainly, again, don't also go out and into your hands. Begin to feel better by yourself. Don't let marriage kill you. God will not forgive you if you allow marriage to kill you.
That's very emphatic. God will not forgive you if you allow marriage to kill you.
It is true. God will not forgive you. You have your life. You have your life to live. We all have our lives to live. Yes, in marriage, you see, and that is the painful part. When you're saying that I am marrying you as part of the negotiations we are having, you are supposed to stay at size 8. For the next 30 years, you are going to be married, and you accept that yes, I will stay at size 8. What kind of life is that? And so we have written it on paper. We will stay at this. It is so wrong. It can never happen. Now, if Jesus, sometimes I don't want to understand some of these things, and especially for Christian husbands. For a Christian husband, you have all the Bible, which is the blueprint for your marriage. You are supposed to be walking through this marriage with your Bible. Now, marriage for me is not only for the romance part of it. It is an institution where Jesus Christ is comparing himself and his church to. You see, so the church of God is compared to the relationship between Christ Jesus and the church to marriage. So this is it. The church is adoring Christ. The church is worshiping Christ. The church is all head over heels in love with Christ. And Christ also is loving the church to the point where Jesus Christ had to die for the church and is nourishing the church. Look at Ephesians 5:23 downwards, and you see all this. And so a husband is saying that because you have become a size 14 or size 19, or if there is any size 19, I cannot stay on my vows again because you have 10 size 18. What would this husband stay if you become very, very sick? Would he stay if you even tend to have a psychological, a mental problem? Would he stay if you happen to have an accident which gets you fully incapacitated? So these are the conversations. At the end of the day, if we are only marrying this body, then certainly you have a problem. And if any woman is saying that, yes, marry me on these things, then I wonder what kind of, what she was agreeing to. Because marriage goes deeper beyond all of these things. For me, one of the most beautiful things that I always love is to see very elderly people like 90 years, 95, still married, and I see them. I am so happy And if you think that your wife from age 28 to continue to be a size 8 to 70, what kind of thing is that? And so many things, changes, challenges. And if this man cannot only accept that your body has moved to a size 16, and then what else can he accept about you?
I can imagine.
I don't think that any woman should stay in this marriage and die before your husband is calling people. Some of them, once I was in the studio and a woman met me and said that my husband has even been bringing his girlfriend into the house, so I have to push the children into one room and all that. What kind of marriage is that? Is that what marriage is supposed to be? I don't think so. I don't understand.
It's overwhelming. Oh my God, Phoebe. This is overwhelming. And I think that you mentioned it right when you said the hardcore conversations will have to be had.
Yeah.
Now, with your experience, like Mama T is, she's stressed on all of that. Why do you think that we shy away from these conversations to start with? Why do we shy away from it?
We shy away from it because obviously,
or is it because we don't see them, like we can't visualize them?
That's part of it. I think, and because, the way marriage is discussed in our part of the world is not very realistic. It's very fantastical. The way we even go into marriage, we focus on the extremities. We focus on the aesthetics. We don't focus on the gnarly, raw, rugged, foundation of marriage. We look at all the niceties, everything, and even when we're getting married, the focus is on preparing for the wedding. It's not, constructing a marriage. I see a marriage as a building that you're putting together. And if you don't have the right foundations laid, whatever you put on top of it cannot be sustained. It will collapse. And what Mama T was saying, some of the foundations that were built or that were settled, they were unstable to begin with. A woman's size as the basis for fidelity or attachment or commitment is not a very solid foundation to have a marriage on. Because the human body goes through transitions. Besides just having children, I think we always say just having children, but we have hormonal changes. We have our ups and downs. We have the challenges we go through, as she said. Women go through a lot of traumatic experiences. So it affects, as mentally, we are affected, the emotional traumas. Some women, when they give birth, the process of giving birth causes so much trauma that even just recovering mentally can take a while before they even look at the physical healing, And so if, if your whole thinking is that this is the basis of my marriage, all these aesthetics, all these physical attributes, what will happen is that it cannot be sustained. And that is why after the course of time, these cracks are beginning to show. And the marriages are naturally just, going towards, the two characters are going, the two spouses are going towards two different directions because they never started on the same page.
Yes.
They never started, I can agree to it, but I'm not on that page with you. I'm not fully committed to it.
So, can you, before I come back to Doc, can you help us, understand, before a woman, a married woman for that matter, like Mama T said, there are some people who are just excited about being married, but a right-thinking woman who has probably made all her considerations and has given all the thoughts to it and decided that I am going into marriage now. Can you help us understand briefly what the thought processes of this woman is if eventually she will have to bear it to another man? And do you think that right from the beginning, the idea is fun to her, or she struggles with the process before it even happens?
It really depends on her personality type. Some women like the sexual diversity, the exploration, the activity, the adventure of it. So it depends on the person's personality type. But what I find is a lot of women have also attached their self-esteem and their self-worthiness to their marital status. So I am only satisfied when I'm in a relationship with someone. When I have someone to constantly validate me, affirm me, tell me how wonderful I am, tell me, because in the second instance, the woman was able to achieve her goals just because she had someone just constantly speaking into her life and encouraging her. Someone of the opposite sex who we can assume had that sexual attraction towards her. When a woman has a man fawning over her, just giving her all the, the racks and everything, what does it do? It gives us a sense of excitement and confidence. If you're that type of woman who always finds out your confidence, your self-worthiness is attached to the validation there from a man, if you're in a marriage and the man is not giving you that, you will, even if you don't do it consciously, you start to gravitate towards someone else who will do that for you. I don't think that it's a conscious decision that I am going towards this direction. Some women too have been exposed to issues of infidelity at home. So sometimes we don't realize it, but we are familiar with it. Oh, okay, my father did this to my mother, and my mother, because of that, she did this. Or I saw that with my uncle or something. They've been exposed to it. So the idea of this, it always comes in, because like you said, in their intrinsic motivation when they got married was not to go out. But they've been exposed to some stimuli, some information from outside that this is possible. If this is not satisfying me, I can go and try this. Because the question I would ask these women, and I ask them is, why is that an option?
Yeah.
Why is that a viable option? Where did you get that ideology from? Where did you get that thinking from? And why are you staying in your marriage? Why is this a preferable option for you? Because we are all different. The way we develop our ideologies, the way we decide, it varies from person to person. So why are you like this? Why did you choose this?
Interesting. Doc, I'll come to you in a bit. Good morning, Adam and resource persons. I humbly disagree with the statements made by Mama T that a womanizer will not change even after marriage, because I have thousands, if not millions of guys, including my friends, who were chronic womanizers but have stopped after marriage, even though ladies still throw themselves at this now, new man. Clear suitable opportunities without the wife knowing, but refuse these temptations. It's all about personal individual attitudes and the character to love and understand your partner. Okay, I think the import of this was that if you are thinking that marriage is what will change the person, then that one you're wrong. But if this person, of course, makes their own, personal decision that, look, I am not doing this again, with or without marriage, the person can change. But the marriage itself does not change the person. I'm sure that is the import of what Mama T was saying. Now, this one says, I cannot fathom why a bad character cannot be changed for good. If indeed we proclaim we're Christians, what prevents us from seeking God's guidance through prayers and counsel from professionals? Is this the problem This is the problem I have with one of your resource persons. But any man or woman who thinks the spouse should be in the same state as attractiveness after 10 years of marriage, then that person needs a psychologist. But mind you, most women are cheating secretly. Yes, but that is what we are talking about. Would you justify it on any day? Would not justify it on any day. Fact, however, is that love, affection, and attention, etc., is a need and not a want. Maybe marriage counselors should factor it into their work. It never gets easier. Yes, that's very true. This one says, let's kindly note that there are two types of infidelity, emotional and physical. Yes, some are guilty of physical infidelity, but then trust me, many, even some of the seemingly most faithful spouses are guilty. Okay, so usually we'll start with the emotional thing. Oh, thank you very much. You're making me happy. I like talking to you. I'm enjoying your company and all that. That is how it usually starts. And then, unless of course the person lives abroad and you live in Ghana, then you know that you will never meet to have a physical, encounter. But usually would start from, usually would start from all those, emotions that you would be expressing to each other. Now, let me quickly share some messages, from our sponsors with you, and then we will continue the conversation. And I have our COVID-19 tips coming up for you very shortly, and these tips are brought to us by Kerex. Kerex in collaboration with Ghana Medical Association. Kerex kills 99% of bacteria. Say yes to life. Dole yogurt, more, I need more. Alive soap. Soap can save your life, use it. McDonald's Shipping Company, your total logistics partner. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity is always a delightful experience. Whole Life Assurance, we've got you covered. Now, our COVID tips for today. Face shield is designed to protect you from harmful particles flying through the air. This means your face mask may become contaminated while you wear it in public. Okay, that means that, please stop calling the phone, please. And then wash your hands before and after putting on your shield. Wash your face shield often with soap and running water, or clean it with a Clorox wipe, and wear both the mask and the shield to be fully protected. Now, let me tell you about Fortune Rice. Today is Saturday. You may be going to the market and make sure you grab some. Just like moms know what to do in every situation, you can trust any of the Fortune Rice brands for all your rice meals for every occasion. It needs just a little water. Emphasis is on water, a little water. Otherwise, your rice that you wanted to one will become, rice what? How do you call it? You're not cooking rice water, but you're trying to cook, very good rice dish, and then it all becomes very soggy. So you don't want to do that. And then if you're thinking of cooking jollof, fried rice, rice balls, and any other rice dish, you can think about Fortune. It comes in the classic, which is the green, the orange, that's the Fortune Delight, and then you have the Fortune Delicious, that's in the red pack. So go get yours now. And Fortune Rice, just always know that we're on point, just like mom. And then let me also tell you about Airtel free morning calls. Okay, have you heard that there is only one thing sweeter than hot water? Oh my God, with Willie from your favorite corner early in the morning. It's free morning calls from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on Airtel Tigo. Simply get a new Airtel Tigo SIM, make a transaction with Airtel Tigo Money, and get free calls every morning for 6 whole months. And if you're already registered on Airtel Tigo Money, simply dial *110#, select option 2 to subscribe for only 2 Ghana cedis. So you too can add free Airtel Tigo morning calls to your breakfast. Now you know. Share the news, because Konkonsa no get legs. Buy an Airtel Tigo SIM today. Airtel Money. Life is simple. Now I want to have Wachi, like now. And Dano Milk. Milk just got excited with Dano Milk. Dano Milk has 3 extra amazing powdered milk flavors to its plain milk, and they come in chocolate, strawberry, and coffee. Beyond being creamy and tasty with pleasant and natural aroma, they are healthy and nutritious, and that helps you grow strong mentally and physically. Get your favorite milk at 1 Ghana cedi only for the 40-gram sachet, and serve with cold, hot, or warm water. Dano Milk, strength comes from within. Oh God, our time is running so fast. Maybe we may have to set up a conversation again. There are some things I want to understand, and then help people deal with it. Generally, the bigger part of the conversation is to find out, okay, so what is so difficult? What is so difficult about, being intimate with your partner? What is so difficult about understanding your partner, about trying to do things that would make each other happy, about understanding, for instance, that this woman has had 2 cesarean sessions and is struggling with her weight, and you being there to support them and all? What is called for you to understand that it hurts for your partner to realize that you are philandering? Can't you just understand it? What is difficult for you to understand that your partner has needs and wants to be affirmed and all that? Why is it difficult? Are we just lazy about it? Do we think it is not important? Or is it that probably there are underlying issues for which reason you just can't open up and be all that to your partner? Would want to understand all of these in a much bigger context. But Doc, before we go, I'll come back to you shortly. We'll take a break and I'll come back to you to find out. We'll start the conversation now, but we'll continue next week about what should men understand about women. You had a woman, yeah. Sometimes they say we're very complicated, but knowing how women function and everything, maybe some free apart from you. Daniela, please let's take the break and then come back quickly for Doc to give us some apart before we leave this morning and continue next week. Okay,
keep the frequency clear. 99.7.
Like moms know what to do in every situation, you can trust Fortune Rice for all your rice meals. It needs just a little water. The grains don't stick and the aroma and taste are delicious. Fortune Rice, always on point, just like mom. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. Just like mom.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Doc, we are back. So maybe in some 2 minutes, you should give us this apple. Let's start it. I know we won't be able to finish, but give us like some 2 or 3 points, and then next week we can give the rest. Next week should be about we're trying to make sure that this thing is working in our home, so that people don't end up doing these things.
Okay. Interesting. So quickly, before I do that, I'll take 30 seconds to say something.
Yeah.
Marriages have changed. In the olden days, we had to do puberty rites. I don't know what the version for men were, but I guess the men sit beside some pot of palm wine somewhere, and the elders tell them how they are supposed to behave.
Yeah.
For the women, it was a more structured. Women are more structured. It's a more structured process, where they underwent training for about 2 years or up to 2 years, the end of which she knew how to get the man to do what she wanted to do because she tended to be wiser. Nowadays, we don't have that process. And so, puberty rites have now become 2-hour ceremonies. We don't have, our mothers have abdicated from the responsibility of teaching people how they are supposed to succeed in marriage. We don't seem to have marriage success classes. We have some kind of marriage counseling before we get married, which I don't think I've come to realize is not adequate enough. Recently, a relative of mine got married, and they went and saw a professional counselor, people like Phoebe, and paid people like Phoebe. And before they started, they gave them a list of questions to answer, and they did what they call compatibility testing. And they did plenty tests to see if the two people can actually succeed in a marriage, and then gave them a report of the exam they wrote as to how compatible they were before they started the actual counseling process. A lot of these problems that we are discussing, my relative and his wife, they've discussed it and solved it and planned how they'll respond to it even before they got married. We don't do that in church. We don't. So either our churches need to become professional counselors, or the church people need to go for the professional counseling lessons, or the church people need to hire the professional counselors, but we are lacking that aspect. And I see people like Phoebe because these are Christians who are professional counselors. So they'll discuss it not only from the biblical perspective, but from the professional aspect too as well, to try and achieve an objective of getting us to marry and to marry well.
Doc, unfortunately, you didn't start. Your 30 seconds. You didn't start it all, and time is up. We have to go.
Oh, I can't 10 seconds. So what the men need to understand about women, in short, one, the woman has got desires just like you. The woman needs to be loved, touched, sweet-talked, given respect, given attention, just like you. The woman likes sex, maybe even more than you.
Yeah.
What we need to do is, but women are pretty straightforward if you just try to take time to study them and figure out what do you like, what makes you tick,
Okay.
and then you try and make that a priority.
All right. I'm going to let you pause here. And then I didn't ask you, but I am hoping that next week, Saturday, we'll have you. And then we'll answer those questions I was asking, because I think that we just need to be able to understand and learn and make it easy, you know, for us to be able to solve these problems in our homes. Honestly, sometimes it's like marriage, and then you have a lot of young people sending you messages and telling you that, hey, the way people are talking, we are afraid, or we don't want to get married, we don't want to get married. But that's not it. You know, it's supposed to be a very beautiful thing. And so next week, hopefully, we will have the concluding part of the conversation. But I'd like to say a very big thank you to you for joining us this morning, Phoebe, Besebete, Dr. Fadiaise, and then Mama T. Thank you all very much for joining in. Daniela, so yeah, this is how we'll end Home Affairs today. I hope that you have been able to pick one or two steps. Next week, we will continue. My name is Adam Nightstay. Enjoy the rest of our programs. The Weekend Tea Show is up next. News File comes up. We have Sports Link with Nathaniel Lato coming up. And then after, we have Showbiz also. And the rest of the programs continue. So stay with us and have a lovely weekend. My name is Adam Nightstay. Bye.
Bye.